Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Quote of the day: Success is getting what you want, happiness is wanting what you get. Today, the topic of my presentation is National Water Policy, and I would be covering these subtopics: concerns, objectives, strategies, conservation of water, rights and obligations, sustainable water infrastructure, and rest of the subheadings would be discussed in the next presentation. And I'm presenting it under kind supervision of my professor, Dr. Saira Afzal. Learning outlines. Learning outlines are water concerns, objectives of the policy, strategic priorities and planning principle, conservation of water, drinking water and sanitation, water rights and obligations, and sustainable water infrastructure. And in the end, it would be recent updates and MCQs. Learning objectives. At the end of presentation, participants would be able to describe main water concerns, objectives of national water policy, and planning principles. Pakistan's situation of water resources. With rapidly growing population, Pakistan is heading towards a situation of water shortage and by corollary a threat of food insecurity. Per capita surface water availability has declined from 5,000 to 60 cubic meters per year in 1951 to around 1,000 cubic meters in 2016. And this quantity is likely to further drop to about 860 cubic meters by 2025, marking a transition from a water stressed to a water scarce country. And the minimum water requirement to avoid food and health implications of water scarcity is 1,000 cubic meters per capita per year. The situation calls for rapid development and management of countries' water resources on a war footing. Specific issues concerning the water sector. First is fresh water, being a finite resource, is progressively becoming more scarce due to persistent increases in its demands. Water scarcity can adversely affect the health and well-being of the people of Pakistan. The geographic location of Pakistan places the country in the heat surplus zone on Earth, putting it high on the vulnerability scale of climate change with considerable increase in frequency of extreme weather events and erratic monsoon rains. The Indus Basin replacement works, dams in particular, are approaching the end of their design lifespan due to siltation and requiring replacement storages. Different regions in the country are endowed differently with water in terms of precipitation, surface flow, and groundwater, and there is increased stress on sharing of water resources. Lack of equity in water allowances of various canal commands is causing water and salt imbalances at a regional level. Bulk of drinking water requirement is met by groundwater, which is depleting and its quality is deteriorating. The mandate and roles of the federal and provincial water-related agencies need to be reviewed in view of 18th Amendment to the Constitution. Concentrated efforts are needed to reuse treated sewage water in order to reduce sweet water demand. There is lack of awareness amongst the general public about the impending threat of water scarcity and the huge wastage of sweet water. Excessive watering of crops is endemic with total disregard for efficiency and conservation. Desalinization of seawater is a significant source of water. However, no effort has been made for desalinization in the light of technology advances and international best practices. National water policy. It has become a national imperative to ensure water security for the people of Pakistan through a national water policy laying down the outlines of an integrated water management strategy that can optimize the economic, social, environmental returns on water resources, ensure equitable allocation among its competing demands as well as its judicious use by consumers, and safe disposal of post-use effluents. Now, objectives of the policy. The national water policy is based on the concept of integrated water resources management, primarily aimed at the following policy objectives: promoting sustainable consumption and production patterns throughout the water sector from exploitation to utilization, augmentation of the available water resources of the country through judicious and equitable utilization via reservoirs conservation, improving availability, reliability, and quality of freshwater resources to meet critical municipal, agricultural, and environmental needs. Improving urban water management by increasing system efficiency through adequate investments to address drinking water demand, sewage disposal, handling of wastewater, and industrial effluents. Promoting behavioral change to reduce wastage of water by raising public awareness through media campaigns and incorporating water conservation lessons in syllabus or curriculum at primary, secondary, and tertiary levels. Hydropower development to increase the share of renewable energy, providing food security and expanding water availability to help adapt to climate change, population, and other large-scale stresses, treatment and possible reuse of wastewater like domestic, agriculture, and industrial, upgrading water sector information systems for improved asset management and to drive evidence and data-driven decision-making, improving watershed management through extensive soil conservation, catchment area treatment, preservation of forest, and increasing forest cover. And this watershed is an area that drains rainfall and snow melt into stream and rivers. This is the watershed area, and the catchment area is an area of land bounded by watersheds that are draining into river or any other reservoir. Then comes that restoring and maintaining the health of the environment and water related ecosystems, flood management to mitigate floods and minimize their damages, drought management with emphasis on long-term vulnerability reduction, security of benefit streams of the water related infrastructure for sustained provision of services, promoting appropriate technologies for rainwater harvesting in rural as well as urban areas, regulating groundwater withdrawals for curbing over obstruction and promoting aquifer recharge. Then adequate water pricing, that is Abhyana, for irrigation and proper operation and maintenance of the irrigation system as well as other user sectors, promoting measures for long-term sustainability of the irrigation system, encouraging beneficiary participation and public-private partnerships, strengthening and capacity building of water sector institutions, profitable use of flood water towards promotion of local irrigation practices, protection of wetlands for the prevention of wildlife, flora and fauna, stoppage of water, further seawater intrusion into sea upstream from coastline for the sustainability of coastal environment, flora and fauna and mangrove growth, including the use of skimming duck wells in coastal areas, enhancing water productivity through infrastructure development and adoption of improved technologies in a sustainable manner. Climate change impact assessment and adoption for sustainable water resources development and management, promoting research on water resources related issues of national importance and building capacity and responsibilities of federal research institutions and promoting coordination among them, setting major national targets for the water sector, including those for water conservation, water storage, irrigation, water treatment, and drinking water. And then securing kacha areas and economy thereof, preserving delta area by providing sufficient supplies regularly, and rainwater management in plains where it cannot be disposed of or diverted to the river. And coming to strategic priorities and planning principles. Several strategic initiatives have been identified that will be taken up at the federal and provincial levels since they are of critical importance to the water, energy, and food security of Pakistan. These include conservation and efficiency. Conservation measures can be adopted for groundwater water by regulating its extraction and use. Both conservation and efficiency must be highlighted for demand-side management of water resources. Then comes storage. If the pattern of rainfall becomes erratic, with more than average rain in one year and a drastic reduction in the next year's rainfall, the only way to conserve the surplus rainwater in wet years is to store it and release it in dry years when required. Expansion of water storage will expand irrigation and also increase the proportion of hydropower in energy mix, reducing the need for thermal power. Then leveraging technology. Adoption of new technologies is urgently needed for seawater utilization and water recycling. Second is preparation of an inventory of water resources through remote sensing and other technologies, and accurate monitoring of irrigation water delivery. Then comes renewable energy. With appropriate policies and subsidies, a large percentage of tube wells in Pakistan can be converted to solar energy, especially in areas where water table is not very low, to provide additional water at lower cost. Solar energy can also be used for daytime desalination of seawater, particularly in the coastal areas of Balochistan. Then comes integrated water resource management. The management of water resources is shifting from sectoral to a more integrated approach in different parts of the world. Under integrated water resource management, the interest of all stakeholders can be protected against mining and contamination. Watershed and catchment areas can be protected to prolong the life of water storage facilities. Then comes comprehensive regulatory framework. Food security, water security, and energy security being inextricably linked, so the regulatory framework must address all the associated issues comprehensively, including groundwater contamination, waste treatment, open defecation. Then comes planning principles. The process of planning, development, and management of water resources at the federal and provincial level, including the development of this policy, will be guided by the following set of principles: equity and participatory decision making. Water sector activities shall be participatory and consultative at each level. Access to affordable and safe drinking water is a fundamental human right of all citizens. Efficiency and conservation will be promoted at all levels. Environmental sustainability must be ensured. Then comes conservation of water. The criticality of fresh water for sustenance of human life, coupled with scarcity, warrants recognition of water conservation to be the highest national priority. In the choice of conservation technology, due care shall be exercised to select the most appropriate technology which has the proven record of performance, is the economically viable option, and which has the potential to generate multi benefits, and which is environment friendly. It is recognized that large annual and seasonal variability of freshwater availability makes it necessary to build large dams for system augmentation with consensus of all federating units, build small and medium dams for local and regional use, build check dams and delay action dams for recharge of aquifers and to reduce the flow velocities and erosions. And aquifers are the body of porous rock or sediment which is saturated with groundwater. Like these are the aquifers. And then recharge the underground aquifers during floods and surplus water flow periods for later use. The water conservation plan shall include reuse and recycling of municipal and industrial wastewater effluent after appropriate treatment at source, adoption of rainwater harvesting technology, adoption of water conservation techniques or technologies at the farm level, and adoption of technology for sustainable use of drainage water in agriculture, horticulture, and forestry subsectors. Then comes drinking water and sanitation. Plans and initiatives shall be undertaken to provide access to clean and safe drinking water and sanitation facilities to the urban and rural population of the country. Full financial sustainability shall be aimed at for the urban water supply and sanitation systems through effective reduction in wastage, theft, and non-revenue water allocation. The rural water supply and sanitation services shall be priced at affordable rates. Under no circumstances shall the quality of drinking water, urban or rural, be allowed to fall below the specified standards. Each agency responsible for delivery of such services shall prepare quality monitoring plans and shall be responsible for their rigorous enforcement. The sources of water, surface as well as underground, shall be diligently protected from contamination through enforcement of legislation for controlling water pollution in coordination with provinces. In remote area of country, solar desalination of water will be promoted to provide the communities safe drinking water. The groundwater levels have dropped to alarming depths and are falling further, potentially reaching the highly salinated seawater level in the coming few years. Alternative sources of surface water need to be urgently developed and adequate groundwater recharge ensured. Drinking water and sanitation plans will be adopted in line with the national drinking water and sanitation policies and sustainable developmental goals. Then, what are the water rights and obligations? All citizens of Pakistan have the rights of equal and affordable access to clean drinking water and appropriate sanitation facilities. According to the constitution, the provinces have jurisdiction over the rears and are responsible for the maintenance of flood protection embankments, flood control and drainage. However, due to inter-provincial irrigation network, the federal government will continue to oversee the overall management and distribution of river water amongst provinces through Indus River System Authority. So the federal government looks after the overall management distribution of river water. However, the provincial government is responsible for the maintenance of flood protection, dikes, flood control, and their drainage. All the users of water, public or private, shall have the right to receive water of specified quality at their premises of use. The provincial government shall be responsible for the management of groundwater as per provincial government rules and regulations. Provinces are responsible for routine repair and maintenance of flood protection dikes, flood fighting, and drainage. However, in case of major catastrophe like the 2010 floods, the federal government will provide supplementary funds in addition to the 50% which the federal government has already agreed to provide. Now, the last topic, sustainable water infrastructure. The water-related infrastructure must have physical and functional sustainability for its design life. All project proposals must certify that the applicable professional standards have been followed in the field of investigations, designs, construction specifications, and product quality, operational procedures, and maintenance provisions. This infrastructure shall be so engineered, constructed, and operated that each component serves its designed purpose without undue wastage of water. Each agency in charge of infrastructure shall carry out periodic inspection of works under its charge, and for this purpose, prepare and update inspection manuals to bring these to the requirement of accepted good practice, specifying the periodic interval of each inspection, inspection procedures for each type of infrastructure, and reporting authorities responsible for due remedial actions, including surety of financial provisions at priority. Equal priority should be given to repair and maintenance, remodeling and rehabilitation, and upgradation alongside new construction while allocating funds. It would be ensured that all barrages and bridges on major rivers would have sufficient capacity to safely pass floods of at least 100-year return periods. Now coming to recent updates, there was an article published last year which was a critical analysis on the national water policy of Pakistan. The aim of this study is to analyze that the national water policy of Pakistan so as to identify any gap or loophole in the policy. The evaluation found that the policy provides an integrated way to deal with the challenges of water security in Pakistan. However, it lacks a coherent framework and to come up with the effective implementation mechanism to address the issues, especially related to the institutional governance structures. Findings of the study reveal that the implementation of the policy remains a major challenge, mainly due to weak institutional capability and institutional confusions between the federal and provincial government. The way forward of this study identifies research needs and significant hurdles to policy implementation. This study helps the policymakers for revising the policy and establish better implementation plans. Now coming to the multiple choice questions. MCQ number 1, with rapidly growing population, Pakistan is heading towards a situation of water shortage. Per capita surface water availability has declined from 5,260 cubic meters per year in 1951 to around 1,000 cubic meters in 2016. The quantity is likely to further drop to about 860 cubic meters by 2025. What is the minimum water requirement to avoid food and health implications of water scarcity? 1,000 cubic meters per capita per year, 2,000 cubic meters per capita per year, 3,000 or 1,500 cubic meters per capita per year.
A.
Yes, the right answer is A. 1,000 cubic meters per capita per year. This is the minimum water requirement to avoid food and health implications of water scarcity. MCQ number 2. The continuous increase in population growth and rapid urbanization has pushed Pakistan into category of stressed countries. Which of the following is not the concern related to water sector? The dams approaching the end of design lifespan, depletion of groundwater and deterioration of its quality, no effort being made for desalination of drinking water, lack or poor condition of the tube wells all over the country.
C.
The right answer is no. The right answer is D, because just all were mentioned in the water concerns of the policy. However, there is lack or poor condition of tube well. This is something that is not related to the water scarcity. That is poor condition of tube wells. Third MCQ, the National Water Policy lays down a broad policy framework and set of principles for water security on the basis of which the provincial governments can formulate their respective master plans and projects for water conservation, water development, and water management. Which of the following is not the objective of National Water Policy? Improving availability, reliability, and quality of freshwater resources, rainwater and flood management, hydropower development, securing coastal areas of Pakistan, reuse of wastewater.
E.
No, right answer is D, that is securing coastal areas of Pakistan. It is not the objective of National Water Policy. Rest are the objectives, because this has nothing to do with water conservation or water management. Then comes MCQ number 4. Which of the following is the most important instrument of mitigation against the impact of climate change on water resources? Extraction and use of groundwater, storage of surplus rainwater, desalination of seawater, reuse of wastewater.
B.
Yes, B is the right answer, because it is rest are also important, like extraction and desalination, reuse of water, to come up with the to overcome the water scarcity. However, storage of surplus rainwater, it is the very important instrument that decreases the impact of climate change. MCQ number 5. The National Water Policy highlighted water rights and obligation. Which of the following is not true regarding it? The provincial government is responsible for the maintenance of flood protection, embankments, flood control, and drainage. The federal government oversees the overall management and distribution of river water amongst provinces. The provincial government shall be responsible for the management of groundwater. Federal government is responsible for the the routine repair and maintenance of flood protection embankments, flood fighting, and drainage?
D.
Yes, right answer is D, because this option is not true, because provincial government is responsible for the routine repair and the maintenance of flood protection and flood drainage. MCQ number 6. The criticality of fresh water for human life, along with scarcity, necessitates recognition of water conservation to be the highest national priority. This water conservation can be done by all of the following except building of large dams for system augmentation, recharge of underground aquifers during surplus water flow, provision of subsurface dams, or desalination of seawater coastal areas.
D.
Yes, right answer is D, because this is not the way of conserving water. However, this method can be used to overcome the water scarcity. MCQ number 7. Which of the following is inseparably linked to water resources, and its change has serious implications on water resources? Climate change, political situation of the country, policy implementation, institutional confusion between provincial and federal government. Any guess?
A.
A.
Yes. However, rest of the options can somehow be linked to water resources, but climate change has direct and impact on the water resources. MCQ number 8. The water resource is a dash responsibility, irrigation and agriculture, as well as rural and urban water supply, environment, and other water related subsectors are dash subjects. Which of the following is the correct option? Provincial, district, provincial, local, national, provincial, or national district?
C.
Yes, C is the right answer, because water resource is a national responsibility. Other all are provincial subjects. MCQ number 9. The national water policy can provide a major response to the emerging water crisis if which of the following is not correct? It receives high level political support. It provides a set of agreed national targets for water resource management. It leads to a sustained provincial commitment to increase public and private resources for the water sector, or it creates an institutional framework that can address present deficiencies.
D.
No, the right answer is C, because it is actually the commitment at national level or federal commitment, that is to increase public and private resources of the water sector, not the provincial commitment. So the right, the option which is correct is C. The last MCQ, the objective of the national water policy is to take cognizance of the emerging water crisis and provide an overall policy framework and guidelines for a comprehensive plan of action. It is based on the concept of integrated water resource management, indus water management, water and sanitation management, participatory irrigation management.
A.
Yes, right answer is A, that is integrated water resource management, because its strategy is used to promote coordinated development and management of water, land, and related resources. This is key of the MCQs. These are the references. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Meha. Very nice presentation, especially the most important part in today's presentation that I want everyone to focus and remember is about national water policy. It is a federal subject. We know after 18th Amendment, there is a very strong hold of provinces on health and education. However, the water policy is such an important subject that it is still under the federal control. And Pakistan is located in one of the three most vulnerable regions in the world in terms of climate change threats. And the water scarcity is going to happen in these three most vulnerable regions. Anybody can tell me what are these three vulnerable regions in the world? Most vulnerable regions in the world? Anybody, please? I have told you one is Pakistan. And
Pakistan.
what are the other two? Yes? Yes, please. What are the other two?
Africa.
And Africa. And
Australia.
no, Australia, it is a large amount of water is present there, because we know there are two important terms whenever we talk about water. One is the water stressed, and the other are the water scarce countries, right? So scarcity is only when 1,000 cubic meters per capita per year, it decreases through by this level. So if it is lesser than this, then it is there. All those countries that are basically oceans are near the oceans, they are not having any water scarcity or water stress, because they are using a method of removing the saline content of the water or salinity of water in order to get the fresh water. So no, Australia, no, it is not the country that is facing any water stressed or water scarcity situation. Any other idea? In Africa, it is a very large continent, and it is not the whole of the Africa that is under this. What are the countries, the top three countries that are water stressed and having water scarcity? So this is my question for today's talk. I want you to please go and look into again that what are the three top countries that are the three important regions, because there are certain countries that are having their boundaries with the other countries, and they are facing with this. So you have to tell me the top 5 countries that are facing water scarcity as well as they are stressed for water. So today's presentation, the most important point that we have to learn is about national water policy and how the existing situation for the creation of different systems and plan of action with unified national perspective. So what is the main reason behind all this is the climate change. So whenever we are talking about the climate change, we always talk about a very important issue that is being faced, and that is water scarcity. So if we think about the 36 important countries where the water stressed countries in the world, where more than 75% of their people, they have to face the problems of the safe drinking water, and they have very difficult travels, and they have to travel a long way in order to get a good drinking water or a drink. As you know, the drinkable water, it is not only the clear water, it is the potable water. Sometimes it is still muddy, but it is drinkable. So in Pakistan, we are among those 36 countries that are water stressed. And as I have told you that the growing water crisis, we are among the top 3 countries where there is a growing water crisis is there. So why this is so? Why the people are not getting enough water? What is the real challenge? Anybody from the class?
Ma'am, because of lack of storage of water in Pakistan and lack of infrastructure, we don't have dams, and there are canals which are not new in technology, and they waste most of the water rather than storing it.
Very nice, because we know that still the major source of water for more than 220 million people or 22 crore people of Pakistan is Indus River and its tributaries. So the pressure is that we don't have enough dams where the water is being stored, as Dr. Mehreen has correctly identified, that most of the water is going to be wasted all over the year. So because we are not saving the water that is going to be wasted, we don't have enough dams and reservoirs to save it. So our country's groundwater, that is being rapidly depleted. And that is why we are facing all these problems of scarcity as well as water stressed out. So our main agenda whenever we are talking about any water policy is to save the water from the wastage, from unnecessary wastage. And for this, the plan of action has to be unified at the national level. And what we are having, the good things about in our country is that still our country is dependent upon a biodiversity, and we have an ecosystems that are naturally maintained, and still our agricultural land that is still very fertile. However, without water, you can think whatever I have given as the positive points, they can all become the negative point. Without water, no biodiversity can exist, no forests or agricultural land can exist, no fertile lands can be there. So